Hey guys, how we doing? I'm Todd. Welcome to Personal Development Hacks. Settle in. We got another special guest today, so we'll get going here in a couple seconds. All right. I hope everyone is enjoying everything that they got going on in their lives, and we're here to help you in any way that we can. But we do have a special guest today. I've worked with her in a variety of different things in a variety of different ways, but she's a fantastic resource to have. Her name is Phyllis Marlene, and hi, Phyllis.
Hi, how are you, Todd?
I'm well. How are you?
Great.
So, Phyllis, for the audience that may not know you or isn't familiar with you, why don't you just introduce yourself and let everyone know kind of what you do?
All right. I am multifaceted. I'm a recovered engineer. I spent 25 years as an electrical engineer and simply had enough. And I've been out on my own for 12 years now, last 2 months ago. And so I am a international speaker, best-selling author, a master connector, and I like to say I'm a beauty age management specialist because one of my key businesses is helping people age gracefully and safely, men and women. And I have a line of toxin-free, gluten-free, vegan, and cruelty-free self-care and beauty products and wellness products. And I use that as a vehicle to educate worldwide about the toxins in your self-care products, what to avoid, and then I provide a safer alternative. And then with the master connector part, I run my own line of networking chapters nationwide called Connect and Collaborate, as well as have a master networking certification. So with that master connector, what I love to do is just help connect people and build those strong relationships. And so it's like endless lead gen through networking. And then I help
Yeah.
people with an exit strategy out of corporate America because I recently put all my years of experiences and the process I used to get out of corporate America to write a book to shorten the length of time that it takes other people by sharing my best practices.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's
awesome.
me.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, you've definitely got your fingers in a lot of different businesses in a lot of different ways, but all focused on the same thing, which is
Yeah.
helping people with their appearance, their lives, their well-being, their mental health, physical health, stuff like that. So that's awesome. So just if you wouldn't mind, just what was the hardest part for you getting out of corporate America, getting into your own boss? What was the hardest obstacle that you faced that you overcame?
So I like to say I'm unemployable. So, you've heard that term before. But the hardest thing was pivoting my mindset. It was really getting in the frame of mind, going from, the geeky electrical engineer to the beauty industry. And it was a total 180, but it was that mindset part. It was just shedding that engineering feeling when I started my business. It actually took me a few years to shed that, and it's all about mindset. So that's what I would say would be the hardest obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't expect it to be quite, what it was, but I overcame it.
Yes, you did. And with that, I mean, it was one of those successes. Like when you decided to leave corporate America, had you already started building your afterlife, or was it?
That's a great
I know
question.
it's a terrible
No,
word, but
yeah.
had you already started like growing something on the side? So when you left, you knew, okay, now I'm here. It's not as big as I want, but now it gets your full attention.
Right. And that's what my book's about. So, absolutely. So, about halfway through my career in corporate America, I realized that I was no longer in alignment with my core values and beliefs. It just wasn't matching up. I knew that I had quite a skill set, even 12 years into my career. I had developed a lot of skills. I had a great skill toolbox.
Mhm.
And I got into, for me, it was network marketing. So I got into network marketing about halfway through my career. And it took me 12 years and a divorce and some other things, life that happened, to fully transition and be able to leave that job. But I absolutely bought my beauty business up alongside of my tech career. And that's in the book too. You know, if you want to be a business owner and an entrepreneur, please do not quit your day job until you can live off your business. I mean, that's why a lot of businesses don't make it. And for me, it was freeing for me to leave corporate America. I didn't want to be stressed out, um, worrying whether I could sustain myself with my business. So no, I brought my business, up alongside my tech career for a long time,
Mhm.
very
Yeah,
long time.
I think it's an important lesson. I think for people out there that are just they're feeling that pressure and that like um, I'm just no out. I can't see a way out or anywhere in their current careers, and they start looking for these things. I advise people all the time, like, fine, then take a few hours a night and find like a side hustle or find a cash flow or something like that.
Right.
But you're right. If your true intent is, I know I'm going to leave my current job, you have to be in a situation where, yeah, that your side gig or your whatever else you're doing, it might ultimately be a lot bigger than your current income, but you can't make that leap until it's at least on par with, so you're not making a downward step. You're like, okay, I was making say 100 here with XYZ company, and I know that being self-employed, I've got a few extra bills, but I'm bringing in 120 here. So
Right.
it's kind of a wash. And I know the potential that this has to kind of grow from there. But keep it as a side, keep it as a, something that you do in the hours at night, or, stuff that you can kind of set up and then leave it alone for a while and just kind of see what it does until you can actually replace your income. And then the second step from there is, then once you have that side gig going, then your next step is to now start investing in things that generate cash flow, which requires just money. It doesn't necessarily require like your effort, but
Right.
don't leave your regular self-employed job until the cash flow replaces that. And that's truly like a wealth establishing methodology, is like, just keep replacing your income with things that you're not trading, hours for dollars.
Right. And I went part-time before I left my full-time job. So that's another option too. Once you get your business going, you can absolutely cut your hours. If you
Hmm.
think you can make up that difference and it'll get you closer to your end goal, then I went part-time first.
Yeah. Yeah. So on the opposite side of that, I mean, there's a ton more people out there, I'm sure, that had the same thought process, but either just aren't making the leap, or they're, for whatever reason. So what do you see as like the biggest obstacle that people, either they think of themselves, or that is, obviously there's the replacing your income part, we know that, but I mean, what should people expect is, if they're truly considering it, like, this is what you're going to tell yourself, or this is what obstacles you're going to face?
Right. There's a lot of obstacles, and again, it's mindset. You have to believe that you are capable of doing this business. I like to say monetizing your passion, but you need to believe that's the first thing. A lot of reasons people never do it. I think one of the biggest ones is, and that's why I wrote this book, is people don't have an exit strategy. They do not have an exit strategy. So they're going along. I knew halfway through my career that I needed to develop an exit strategy, because this wasn't going to be for me forever. And so, but people, they don't have an exit strategy, and that kind of ties back to what we were just talking about. about, you find or you start a business and you want to leave your job right away. So no, you
Hmm.
need to have an exit strategy with steps and a budget. And so those two things, mindset, belief, and um, an exit strategy, a plan, a step-by-step plan that you go through and end up out on the other side.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing is like people look at it, and if they get to the point to where they're seriously considering doing something, I mean,
Right.
what the mind believes is what you're going to believe and act like, and there's a
Right.
huge amount of fear, like
There is
just
a lot of fear.
it's very comfortable to think I work for this company, they're not going away, I get a paycheck every 2 weeks for the same amount. It's easy to budget, it's easy to make sure that things are paid for, and that's a fear that each individual has to kind of go through. Is, yeah, we understand that, but is that living your best life? And if the answer
Right.
is yes, then by all means do you, right? But for a lot of people out there, that answer is no. They looked at themselves when they were kids and they thought they were going to be astronauts and all this other stuff.
Right.
But as they grew a little bit, they started to think a little bit more about, you know, vacations and jobs and, just what they would be doing and involved in and stuff like that. And they're not there. And so it's that fear is outweighed by that driver of, I'm not where I thought I'd be, or my 12-year-old self thought I'd be, or where I want to be able to go with my spouse or kids or family or whatever, and creating those memories.
Right. And it takes a lot of self discipline. You have to be able to be your own boss, set your own hours, and have a schedule.
Hmm.
It's being an entrepreneur, you still have to be disciplined. And I think that's another reason why people don't do it. They like punching the clock no matter how much they hate it. They still punch the clock. They know what hours they have to be sitting there and they get a paycheck. Well, it's different when you're self employed. It takes a
Hmm.
lot of self discipline. It's doing the things you don't want to do. So later on, you can do the things that you want to do whenever you want to do them.
Yeah, and it's I think, for the most people that go into any form of like self-employed working for themselves, there's probably a good 90% go in, and it's the first time where it's like, okay, it's just me, and all of a sudden distractions come up and you're walking a dog, and it's like you're at the park,
Right.
and all of a sudden it's like, oh god, it's 3 o'clock and I haven't done any like actual stuff today. And that becomes that split where you see people that they were self-employed, but that split happened. They realize that now they're in control and they need that structure, and they go back. And then there's the other people who actually, like, I know for myself, like going into self-employed, I went through that same kind of, mental gymnastics for a little while, but then it was like, if I'm going to do this and do this right, I actually need to be a lot more disciplined in my
Right.
schedule, what I'm doing. I need to make sure that everything is planned out so that when I don't have a day where there's something planned, I'm not scrambling to catch up. It's like, I know that I got to post on social on this and this and this, and I got to, refilm this, and I got to, I got,
And you go live every day. I see your live. So
yeah, it's you have to be more disciplined in it though, because your time can get away from you so much easier when the only person that's going to yell at you for not getting your job done is you, or your spouse
right.
or kids
Right.
and stuff like
So
that.
time management is key. I mean, I learned to have time management because I worked and I had 4 kids and juggling all that. But it doesn't matter whether you're working at a job or you're self-employed. You still need time management and to compartmentalize all the distractions.
Hmm. Hmm. So looking back, obviously you're happy with the decision that you made. I mean,
I
you've got
am.
you've got your finger in a ton of stuff and wrote a book about how you did it. So good for
Yeah.
you. That's awesome. Um, so I mean, what just for general people out there, kind of, I mean, what are some of the opportunities? It's like that you see kind of on a regular basis. Like I talk to people all the time about like use technology. Like you do not have to physically go to a workplace, to this, to that. Utilize the assets that we now have in play with today's day and age. And it doesn't have to be like you are a web designer or something like that, but utilize the technology because it allows you to maximize your efforts because you do one thing and you put it in the right spot and it's getting 10 times
Right.
you're
Right.
utilizing the leverage of social media and the internet and everything else. So I don't know. So I mean, in the beginning, what got you into the beauty products and stuff like that? Because you said that was the first one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So, my dad was a mathematician, and my mom was loved the art. She was a registered nurse, and she loved the art. So, my dad drilled me on my math tables when we were driving around in the car. So that's where I got the math whiz and the engineering from. But my mom, we lived in South Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia. My mom had me in dance lessons. I've been playing piano since I was 5. I modeled. I was second runner up in the Miss Burlington County pageant, so I could get scholarship money. And I just had this love for fashion and beauty, but it was a yin and a yang because my dad was pulling me on the engineering side and math side. My mom was pulling me on the art side. Uh, but, that was my roots. For some reason, I've just always had a love of that. And I've done a lot of different things. And so I always tell people that I see the world through my engineering filter because that's something that you never lose. I mean, I'm a degreed electrical engineer. I had a job for 25 years in the tech industry, and I've done makeup before. I've done image where you dress people for their body type, and that to me is just a bunch of geometrics. There's like 7 different body types. There's an oval, an apple, and it's putting those little triangles like those little doll things that we used to have and what looks the best for a long, lean look. And so I just kind of combined a bunch of different things that I was doing, and um, it kind of morphed into
Mhm.
that. But that was the first thing I went into. And the way that I got into my current beauty business is that I have a lot of allergies and sensitivities. And my mom had us eating healthy, but I don't think she was real good on the products. We all grew up with No More Tears shampoo, which has had anesthesia and really bad stuff in it. So I kind of combined the science, and the company I'm in had a lot of clinical data, and we're a biotech company. And so we combine nature and plants with technology to make hair care, skin care. And that just excited me because it kind of combined all my worlds together. And so when I educate people, I've still got that geek part of me. I am like a walking encyclopedia. I learn about everything, and I'm able to go down to the ingredients and the reactions. And so I would say I combine them both. I combined my engineering with my fashion, my beauty, and just made this great cocktail at the end.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you're talking about there is like it was your passion,
Yes.
and I think that's what people, regardless of what you're looking to do or what your goals are, but just find something that you're passionate about, and there's stuff out there for you to do, to monetize, to focus on, or
So
whatever.
much.
And I mean, anymore, it's really not about like reinventing the wheel or coming up with something, brand new, like an inventor or whatever. I mean, let's face it, most inventions today, they're like better versions of what was already in existence, right?
Right.
I mean, someone invented a CFL light bulb, and it's like, and then it went to LED. It's like, it's still a light bulb. Like,
Right.
you invented the technology in it, I get it, but it still goes in and screws on, and there you go. So I think that's an important lesson for everyone out there that's listening is find what you're passionate about,
Right.
and then find people that have similar passions. With social media and connections and everything, there's going to be people, and you're going to be able to do your own research before you ever get close to leaving a corporate job.
Right.
Figure out, like, okay, I talked to 10 people, and they're all share the same passion. They all do a little bit different things,
Right.
and just find what sparks and go and do your own thing. I mean, for me, like, being a personal development coach, I'm not the only one. There's a ton of me.
Right.
And there's a ton of people, like, maybe not like you. Phyllis, you are unique. I will give you that. But with some of
I am.
with some of the things that you do, I mean, there's other people that are doing those same things. Maybe not in the quantity or as
Yes.
well, but there's other people that are doing those things. And so, it's fine. Just, you're not gonna find that one niche that's been completely unexplored and just be like, I'm the first. No, it's find your something that you're passionate about, because that involves your heart and your soul. And then talk to people who have similar passions. Just go seek them out.
Right. And also, I always say, what do you love to do? What do people ask you about all the time that you help them with? And how can you monetize that?
Hmm.
So, what do people ask you for all the time? For the people that are listening, that you could, on 5 minutes' notice, teach about
Hmm.
or help someone with? That could be a business.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And that's how
Yeah.
I kind of got into the networking. So,
Yeah. Well, and I mean, like with networking and it's like, we're still a world made of humans, and we all
right.
crave human interaction and discussions, and being able to, like, physically see someone, and be just face to face and having a conversation. um I mean, technology, it's a buffer, but there's nothing that substitutes that face to face, like, shaking someone's hand and being right there in front of them. And the if you go into it with your ears and eyes wide open,
Right.
your mouth a little bit closed,
Yeah.
the stuff that you will hear and experience, and the ideas and the just amazing things that people are focused on, if you're passionate about something, you're gonna find someone that is, like, really passionate about it, and they're driving a bus, and that's the bus you just want to be like, hey, look, I'm thinking about quitting my day job and getting into something like this. How would you do it? Because those successful people, they'll go, here's
That's
my,
great advice. Right.
you know, and they'll give you what they did. They're not shy about it. It's not a secret, so it's not like, God, I mean, it's not like Warren Buffett had some secret, like, trading formula that he went
Yeah.
off of.
Right.
No, he bought value, and look at where he's at. So, all right. So, Phyllis, I'm going to give you a little bit of floor here. I'm going to bring your banner up. Just talk about how people get a hold of you and how you can help them.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is my main website, phyllis.phyllismarlene.com. There's a menu on there. That's how you can text me. You can schedule a consultation for hair, skin, wellness. You can also go to the Connect and Collaborate page, and that is all my networking information. So that's about what different networking events I have, both live and virtual. That's where you sign up for the networking certification. And There's also a tab for my book on there. So everything is navigatable from there. And there's also a network with me button on multiple of those pages. So if you click on the network with me button, you can fill out a short form, but it really tells me what you're looking for, what type of connections you're looking for, and how I can best serve you with that. Because I do love connecting people, and I love, introducing you to people that might be helpful.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and you've helped me tremendously. So
Oh, thank
uh,
you.
I
I'm
know
so glad.
you got a copy of your book in front of you.
I do. All
Go ahead and hold it up. I mean, don't be shy about it.
right.
All right, the journey from employee to entrepreneur.
Yes.
Yep, and that's Phyllis's book. And so if you're in that mode, I would highly recommend pick one up
On Amazon.
on Amazon.
Or get it through my website. It connects to that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really for anybody. It's not just someone going from leaving corporate. I think when we get to a certain age, I know before I left corporate, there were a lot of people that were starting side hustles, maybe videography, maybe photography. So this is a guidebook that walks you through your why. It walks you through different techniques for setting up a business. And it's about living, leading, and leaving a legacy. So all that's in there. It's about 300 pages. It's a self-help book.
That's awesome, though, because it's about you giving back to help people out, and it's all from real world experience. It's not.
Right.
I read about this once, so now I'm going to write my own book about it. I mean, this is your stories, what you went through, what your experiences are. And I think that, like myself with my company, it's like I talk about these goals and finding your inspiration and everything like that, because that's what I did.
Right. Right.
When I tell stories and talk to people about guidance and helping them out, I'm just telling you what worked for me and what I faced. And you're going to face your own different stuff in and out, up, whatever. But you got to find people that went through what you're signing up basically to go through, because they can speak from experience, and they can talk more about not just the mechanics of it, but deeper than that, like thought processes and emotions and connections, and just there's more to anything with goals, with life decisions, with self-improvement, anything like that. There's a lot more to it than just I'm going to fill this form out and then that'll do it. So that's awesome, though. I'm obviously very humbled and very glad that I did meet you. But at the same time, it's like, every time I get to interact with you, it's another brand new great experience, and I look forward to them each and every day. So, okay. So on a little bit different scale, like when people are talking about like a retooling of their life, which I posted earlier today, you do not need permission,
right,
to retool your life at any age. But and just from knowing me a little bit and knowing that, like how, obviously a lot of it correlates to like the journey that you took getting out of corporate and other aspects as well. But why do you think majority are so reluctant to take that step? Like, they know they're not happy, but they don't do anything to change that unhappy.
right. I don't think they've really evaluated it. And I know a lot of people, they think, wow, I'm this old, and I can't start a second career. I started my second career at 49. And people need to evaluate where they see themselves 5 years, 10 years down the road. Is this going to get you to your life goals? And that was one of the huge decisions that that was in the back of my mind all the time. I couldn't work on my life goals. I was so busy riding that hamster wheel, going to work every day and taking care of my kids that, I couldn't figure it out. And this has given me so many opportunities to live life on my terms. And that's what it really comes down to. What kind of legacy do you want to leave? And will you be able to leave that legacy working in your regular job? A lot of people will not.
Yeah, it's I mean, I've heard it said from a few different people, a few different sides, but you never create wealth with a job.
Right.
I mean, you can take your, you know, Jamie Dimons and some of these CEOs that, I mean, Steve Ballmer is a perfect example. He was CEO of Microsoft and he's a multi-billionaire because he opted for stock options all these time. I mean,
Yeah.
so, but unless you're him or one of those guys, like you're not creating wealth. If you're one of just the people that are in this world that, exist on a daily basis, you're not going to get to those levels just going to work every day. And if you are going to work every day, that's fine, but have other stuff that's coming in. I mean, there's
That's what I was going to say. Right.
yeah, there's nothing better than, I mean, the only thing better than one person paying you is 7 people paying you.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. The wealthiest people in the world have 7 streams of income.
Mm-hmm.
And that is so important. And that's why this book also helps you with a side hustle, an additional stream of income. Again, what are you good at? What do people ask you about all the time? And how could you monetize it? So I'm all for multiple streams of income. And a lot of people, I know when I was going through my divorce and I was more or less single, an additional stream of income really helped
Mm-hmm.
in addition to my job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's it's I mean, if it's jobs, if it's relationships, if it's health, you're going to face those same questions and those same obstacles, because you're going to be scared, you're going to have
Right.
doubt, you're going to have that fear of, oh God, if I do this again and I don't quite make it, that fear of failure, which I don't like, because honestly, I think in this world, I don't think anyone has ever failed at anything. They've just learned a lot of lessons.
Right. And go back and get a job or create an additional stream of income.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry that you won't be taken care of. You just need to create those streams.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I think that's where, you just, and they don't have to be huge time sucks.
Right.
If you've got like a couple hours, there's stuff that you can do that will take it might take a couple hours. It might take you more in the beginning than it does at the end, because at the end you're just adjusting and doing the same thing. And as you build audiences, your payoff starts to go up as well. But be on the lookout, and that's where I think confidence plays a huge role in this. Like
Yes.
I said, like you're either head down or head up.
Right.
In terms of like your confidence and your mindset, and that you're on the lookout for opportunities, because I can guarantee you one thing: opportunities are not on the concrete down in front of your feet. They're all around you, but you have to be able to recognize them and see them, and then be in a mindset to take advantage of them, and quickly.
And raise your vibration to the vibration of what you want to bring into your life. A lot of people, that's what I didn't like about corporate, the negativity and stuff. That isn't helping.
Right.
Love, positivity, what you were talking about before, they're high on the spectrum, the energy spectrum, and you start to, attract like things into your business, into your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. And that's where it's like, as you gain confidence and as you're on the lookout for these
Right.
opportunities, like you'd be surprised how many of them start just showing up on your doorstep.
Agree.
And they come out of nowhere. You know, I mean, like for me, like my whole journey has been like, you know, yeah, I took risks and I was building the company as I was going, but then through Achieve and, you know, through some other things, it's like all of a sudden, hey, you want to have a televised podcast? I'm like, okay. And then from that, it goes to Need a Guest. And now I was on, you know, a global podcast that gets like 1 million people that watch it every day. And I got to be a guest on that.
Oh, how fun.
I get an interview next week to go into Small Business Innovators or something like that, to have an article in their spotlight article in their magazine.
That's
And
awesome.
it's like, but I wasn't seeking any of it. It's just I was in a mode and my mindset is such that I'm always looking for different stuff in different ways. And these things just presented themselves completely out of the blue. And
I love it. I love it. But
okay.
you put it out somehow you put that out into the universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, you know, I mean, that's what people in general, and correct me if I'm wrong, and I'll get your opinion on this, but I think what's missing is a lot of people, they get into their comfort zone where they know what to expect, and they almost like feel bad when they think about wanting something different or wanting something more.
Right.
And, you know, they you know, I mean, it still amazes me how many people are like, you know, they still talk about the 1%ers, or, you know, people that really achieve at this high level, how, you know, well, that's, you know, that's them and it's them versus us. It's like, no, it's not. Andrew said it on here a couple days ago. It's like, it's a pie. Don't think of it as a pie to where if you take a piece, someone doesn't get one. The pie, if you take a piece, another piece shows up. You're taking what you want and what you deserve and what you're creating and growing with it.
Right.
And the pie is getting no smaller, and pieces aren't missing from the pie.
Right. And I'm glad you mentioned Achieve, because that's been just a game changer for me to put everything together. So.
Well, yeah, I mean.
And amazing people that I met.
Oh yeah. Well, it's, you know, they say, what, if you want to be a millionaire, hang out with a bunch of other millionaires.
Right.
And that's something that Achieve offers. Is it's like, you want to be a successful entrepreneur and build your business, hang out with people that do the same and want the same.
Right.
And just the people that you meet. And that's where, like, everyone else that's out there, like, look at your circle, look at who you're surrounding yourself with.
Right. The 5 people you hang around with, right? I mean,
yeah, I hate to say it, but you're the middle of your 5 closest friends. You know, you're kind of the sum of all their parts and all their stuff put together.
I so agree.
And so when you look at your circle, what like, be honest about it. Don't do it in front of them, obviously. Don't be at a bar and be like, you're a 2, you know, or whatever. But, you know, when you're away from them, just think about, like, who you're associating with and what their lives are and stuff like that. And is that speak to what you truly want from your own life?
But again, when you're positive and your energy is higher and things like that, you're going to attract better people to hang around with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's you know, I mean, there's so many lessons with it that, you know, if people would just, like, pause for a second and, like we talked about earlier, and just take their whole life and do an honest self-assessment of everything. You know, your health, your wealth, your relationships, your friends, whatever. Just take 10 minutes and just step outside of it and think, okay, evaluating yourself like, where would you grade yourself? Where's, is this what you want, not want what? And make it. And then once you find that, if you're where you want to be, no matter where it is, if you're where you want to be and you can kind of look around and say, I've, you know, I'm doing okay on the money side. I'm decently fit. My wife loves me and I'm good. And I just want this. And so
Right.
that is your best life. Great. Then go enjoy it. But if the majority of people, I think they'll do this and think there's something out there and I'm not getting what I want or deserve. But then the biggest thing is you got to do something about it.
Right.
So
With intention.
yeah, well, obviously, you want to, figure out like what you want additionally or subtractually, or I don't even know if that's a word, but you have to figure out when you're doing that self-evaluation, like what do you need more of and what needs to go to truly let you level up. Because
True.
I say it, but sometimes it's, if you're really wanting to level up your life and
Right.
keep making progress, sometimes that's going to be you holding on to the helium balloon to pull you up because there's more.
Right.
Sometimes it's cutting the anchor that is not letting you get any higher.
Right.
And
Good point.
whatever that is, if it's, if it's people, if it's jobs, if it's your health or whatever, you have to evaluate it and then do something about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I did when I started, and that's in the beginning of my book. You need to do a gap of analysis. You need to do a gap analysis of where you are and where you want to go. Where do you want to be and where are you right now? And what are the steps in between? So I totally agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's, I think it should be, I mean, I don't know. You tell me, why do you think it is that most of the general public has the attitude of whenever they want something different or want something new, they immediately go to like, I'm going to set a resolution and I'm going to stick to it. And I don't need any help with it. I'm going to hold myself accountable. I'm not going to tell him. I'm going to do it. And then ultimately, I mean, statistics say by April 1st, 99% of people are done with their New Year's resolution.
Right.
But why do you think there's that? I don't even want to call it like a stigma, but why that fear of like doing something different than setting a resolution like you have for the past 20 years?
Yeah, it just comes down to belief. They don't believe that, when you set resolutions that you didn't want it bad enough. If you don't keep your resolution or you make the resolution, there's so many reasons with resolutions, but you say you're going to go to the gym every day starting on January 1st, but you hate the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So, it would be better to make a lifestyle change or something that fits in with what you do, than make the resolution, make some bigger changes in your habits and your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. It's you have to make sure that what you're doing to achieve whatever is in alignment with something that means something to you, and you've taken
Right.
time to really figure out like what is your why? Like why is this so important to you that this time you're not failing? Like this time you're not going to fall short. You're going to see it through and you're going to make that progress. And you need to do that exercise of asking yourself why at least 7 times. Like why
And so that
who's
why? Because so that it's not you want $1 million or you want to retire your husband or whatever. It's so that That's the
Mm.
way I work it then. Like you said, go down 7 levels.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, agree.
Yeah, and it's that, I think the other fallback that people that or downside that people get into is their goals are too small. They'll sit there at the beginning of the year and think, I want to lose 10 pounds. And it's like,
Again, belief.
I mean, so what? You're going to lose 10 pounds. Like, if you're relatively thin and 10 pounds may make a difference on you, but most people, it's like 10 pounds is like, that's the difference between a Friday and a Monday, you know? Um, so like you have to think of it longer term. And that's why I say,
Right.
don't think about like losing a certain amount of weight. Think about like getting fit, because that doesn't require that you go to the gym every day.
Right. Exactly. Totally agree.
It's like, just be active, be fit, like go for a walk, and go with your significant other and make that your thing, where it's like, hey, we both get home at 5:30. By 6 o'clock we're out the door. Dinner will start at 7:30 because we got to get back.
New
And
lifestyle, right?
but you got to communicate those things to the people that are most important to you, and find out if it matters to them. Because the example I use is like, if I had a significant other and I'm thinking, okay, I have to improve my relationship with my wife. Okay, so my plan is we're gonna go to dinner twice a month instead of like once every 3 months. And
Right.
we'll get the kids and we'll put them, we'll get a babysitter, and we're gonna do this, right? Now, if I don't ask her about it or discuss it with her, then what happens if she doesn't care about dinner? She would rather go for a walk.
Right.
Now she thinks, not only am I like putting calories into her, but she also thinks that I don't listen, because I didn't ask.
Exactly.
So when you get to that stage to where you're like you're talking about your goals and stuff like that, and you may have your plan like right here, right? But if it has anything to do with other people in your life, like especially like your immediate family, kids,
Right.
sick spouse, if it's going to have an impact on them, so share it with them. Share why you're doing
Right.
it.
I agree.
Share your reason for actually taking, this step to do X, Y, and Z or whatever it is, because you're gonna find out if you're off base or on base. And also, once you kind of have that discussion, you got cheerleaders. You
Right.
you got
Right.
people that will
Buy-in.
root you on.
Buy-in, right?
Oh yeah. So I told my kids when I started my kick of like, I'm gonna get fit, right? My kids were my inspiration. I told them it's because I don't want to be on the sidelines. I want to go out and do stuff with you. I want to go up to the mountains and go hiking and go skiing, and I want to
Yeah.
do them with you, not sit in the lodge because I can't do them with you.
Right.
So I tell them, and it was probably about, I don't know, 6 weeks in. I live in Denver, so it's cold and snowing, and I've been walking every single day. And I get up one day and it's cold and snowing and making breakfast, and my daughter comes downstairs and she's like, "Hey, Dad, you going to go for your walk today?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to see what the weather does, but I'll go a little bit later." And
Right.
she looked me dead in the eye and she goes, "You mean now?"
Aw.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'll get my stuff on, and out the door I went. So it's
Wow.
like, because you involve them in what you're doing, and they know why it's important to you, man, you got the greatest accountability partners in the
That's
world,
right. Absolutely.
because you're doing it basically because of the importance of them to you and you to them,
Right.
and they take ownership of it, especially kids, and they're brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm surprised she didn't have like a hammer, like, you mean now? But I love her to death. I mean, my kids are great, and they've been great, and they're, they helped me through it. It was, I mean, it was a year where I just, every single day, I would just go walk. And it got longer and, different stuff and everything like that. But I ended up losing 100 pounds over a year. And I wouldn't have done that if my goal at the beginning of the year was I want to lose 10 pounds.
Right. That's awesome. Good analogy. Love it. Yeah.
So,
Dream big.
well, I mean, what else is there, right? I mean, think about it. Every baby that's born into this world, they are a sponge, and they are full of wonder and excitement and just opportunity. I mean,
absolutely.
You ever drop your kid off at like a kindergarten class, and it could be like the first day of kindergarten where they know nobody else except for like two friends, and you drop them off, within 10 minutes they're all together and they're all hanging out and talking. If you did the same thing with a class of 35-year-olds, you wouldn't see the same thing.
Right.
Because society has its way of kind of like, putting its own feelings in there. But that wasn't the feeling you had when you were in kindergarten.
That's right.
So, all right, fellas. So kind of what's on your horizon? We've got about, I don't know, 4 minutes left. Like what's coming up for you? What's next for you?
Just getting the word out about the networking chapters and the networking certification, my book.
Mm-hmm.
And just helping people. I really want to help people with connections and vehicles to connect, with the networking things I do. And also, helping entrepreneurs look great and feel good, put together so they can be on camera.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have no foundation on. I'm fine.
It's awesome. Looks great, Todd.
Yeah.
And thank you again for the opportunity today. But I would love to hear from people. Please go on to my website, find the Network with Me button, or schedule a consultation. I would love to talk to you. See how I can best help you.
Yeah, for sure. It's it's always enlightening and full of just energy and different stuff. So and just before we go, if you're in that boat, kind of what we've talked about today, where you want something new, or you're afraid to take a leap, or you're just that fear of failure and it's paralyzing you, man, do what successful people do. Get coaches.
Absolutely.
They all have coaches, and they all have multiple coaches, because they either want a different perspective, they need help with something that they don't quite understand, and they reach out. So if you're sitting there and you're listening and you're like, God, this is me and I need help, well, here's help, right?
Yes.
It's a free phone call. You go on there, you fill out some quick information, schedule a call, take action, don't talk about it. So when you schedule a call, show up, and we'll have 15-20 minutes of just where you're at, what you want, and go from there. So it's
love it.
And I can connect you directly with Phyllis as well, if that's your desire. Like,
that'd be great.
There's a ton of great, just so many different people that are perspectives and different thoughts and ideas, and
together we're powerful.
Yeah, it makes life super fun, because you can walk into a room of whatever 50 or 60 people.
I agree.
And it's like all of their stories are different, and you find little pieces, bits and pieces. It's not like all 50 people could be like, I resonate with him, all the way around. But you're going to find stuff where you're like, God, that was cool that they did that, or God, that was cool that they thought that, or that person can really help me. I got to make sure that I get this from them. That's what it's about, is like, it instead of being, all individuals and kind of all on our own battles, like, find people that are in your tribe, or that have,
I love it.
that have similar drives
And build your tribe.
and build it.
Build your
Exactly.
tribe.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's, I know it's like a, you know, kind of a fallback, like everyone talks about your tribe, but it's absolutely true. Like build yourself your circle of people that you know, like, and trust, that have your back, and that as you level up, you're all leveling up together instead of having to deal
Love
with
that.
or
Love
something
it.
like that. So, all right, Phyllis, any parting words?
You know, I love my favorite quote: enthusiasm is the electricity of life. So be enthusiastic, have passion, love what you do, and you'll never work another day in your life. That's it.
I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you guys for watching tonight's episode of Personal Development Hacks. I hope you enjoyed it, and have a good wherever rest of the week, and we'll see you guys next time. See ya.